Hi, my name is Thomas Middledorp, and this is Spacehighwayman development log number 5. The Watch and Jam 5 game jam is now over. This is the build of the game that I submitted. This build is now up on itch.io. Link is in the description below if you want to check it out. I got a bunch of stuff done over the last couple of days. Started adding a few sounds. I didn't get time to do like full key rebinding or anything, so I just have like a help screen that tells you what the controls are. Volume control. You now start in empty space rather than starting right behind a freighter, just to give the player some time to figure out the controls, tinker with stuff. Because you start in empty space, you have to warp somewhere. Currently, the only place that you can warp from empty space is back to the like space pirate drop-off point, which is in a nebula. And currently, I have nothing to drop off, so I'll just now that I'm near the scanning relay thing, I can actually look for other ships. So if I warp to another ship, then we're at the ship. Let's see. I finally got around to actually texturing the cargo containers, so they look a little bit more like cargo containers. I didn't actually end up replacing the ship model because I just ran out of time, so that is unfortunately still just the placeholder for that. Added a sound for the HUD deploying. And the rest of it is kind of, what I've already shown. You still, fire torpedoes. I did change it back now so that you have to actually manually select the vacuum to vacuum stuff up. If you just leave it on torpedoes the whole time, you won't vacuum things up. This is partly because of how the vacuum behavior now. When it's selected, it will by default just vacuum things up, or if you press the right bumper, it'll actually fire them back out, which is how you deposit them at the drop-off point. And partly for that reason, and partly because I kind of wanted to give the player more ways that they could make mistakes. So, like if you forget to switch back to the vacuum after knocking some crates off, then they'll just fly into you, and similarly, if you forget to switch back to the torpedo after collecting crates, then it'll just fire crates out in front of you instead of firing torpedoes. So I like giving the player the opportunity to make mistakes, because I think that's funny. The ship still has problems with loose crates just clipping through it as it turns, because of the way that I'm turning it. I'm not actually I'm not doing proper physics for the ship turning, just because I didn't get around to fixing that, basically. There weren't any loose crates in it this time, so you didn't notice it, but like normally, if there's a bunch of loose crates in there, they'll just kind of drift out the side as it's turning, which is stupid, but whatever. Let's see what else. I didn't actually end up coming up with a use for the EMP cannons in the end, but I've left them in for now in case I still end up implementing anything for that. I added a few more random objects that can be ejected from the cargo containers when they blow up, but not as many as I'd kind of hoped to. Again, I just kind of ran out of time. It turns out that making assets is, not fast necessarily, especially when you're still kind of learning how to do it. But, I did get a little bit of practice in with using Blender to make a handful of low poly assets, so, I'd still achieved the goal that I had there. Part of doing this game was like kind of to see how much stupid shit I could get away with. So like the sounds, for example, I just recorded myself because I didn't want to have to go and look for them on, you know, freesound.org or wherever. And I wanted to see, can I get away with just recording some sounds and, you know, putting them in the game. So the ship thruster noise is actually just the bathroom tap running and then cutting the treble and slowing it down and adding some distortion, and then just controlling the volume of that with the thruster. The key press noises are that's actually my wife's keyboard because she's got a nicer sounding keyboard than I do. The HUD deploying and undeploying, that's actually my cat's automatic cat feeder, the microchip activated thing. So when the cat walks up to it, it makes that noise. What else? That's just the light switch in the house. Yeah, so, you know, like, I don't know, I had some fun messing around with Audacity to sort of chop audio up and so on. So once you've got some cargo, you bring it over here and basically fire it into that hole. And alright, there we go. Yeah, if it hits the side, then it'll bounce all over the place, and you can get in some trouble there. So now I have some money. Unfortunately, I have nothing to spend the money on because I didn't end up implementing like an upgrade system or anything like that. If I end up keeping on working on the game, like the next thing that I was going to work on was making these turrets actually functional. So we got like some, you know, some gun turrets and some where are some down here, I guess, some missile turrets. So I was going to make those actually lock onto you if you're using, you know, the EMP or the torpedo near there. They would all like target you, and then if you actually shot the thing, they would blow you up. And then I was gonna, once I had that working, I was gonna try putting some of these on the freighters to see how that goes. You know, maybe adding some shields to the freighters or something like that. But again, I just ran out of time for all this stuff. I might still do more work on this now that the jam's over. I haven't really decided yet. In retrospect, I probably should have not bothered with like the you know, menus and the base and all of this other random stuff that I've been adding, and I probably should have actually focused on like just the gameplay side of it, like actually interacting with the freighter more interesting, like giving it shields and turrets and so on, to kind of see whether the actual gameplay part of the game has more to, you know, more that I could do with it there. Because then, you know, if it turns out that actually it doesn't, if this game isn't actually going to go anywhere, then I haven't spent a bunch of time implementing all this other stuff. Although in this case, like for this jam, I kind of wanted to make something that resembled a finished game as closely as I could, which is why I ended up doing all of the, you know, menus and random shit like that I did. And, you know, I still learned some stuff from making all of that, so that was useful in that sense. Let's see, what else? That's kind of it, I guess, really. I'm going to take a bit of a break after this, because I've kind of been putting in maybe a bit, like, few too many hours into this than I really should have, like a few too many late nights and so on. So I'm going to take a bit of a break. I may or may not be back next week with another devlog, either for this or my other project or whatever. If you're interested, you could always subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, if you just want to check back at some point whenever you're free, then that's cool too. And you should check out the other Game Jam entries on the Watch and Jam 5 page. I'll link that in the description below as well. People put varying amounts of work into their projects, but they're all worth checking out. So please go and check those out and yeah, like, support those people. And yeah, thanks for following along with this, and if you do decide to download this and give us a try, let me know what you think of it. I hope you have at least a little bit of fun with it. One thing that is kind of fun is if you just decide, actually, I don't care about collecting containers, I just want to watch the world burn, you can just start wreaking destruction on this thing, and it's like kind of satisfying, like just watching all of the containers go everywhere. But I'll leave as a challenge for you to try and knock all of the containers off of the ship before it reaches its destination, because it's actually not as easy as you'd maybe think. Yeah. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy blowing up the ship if you give it a try, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.